Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. April 14th, 2025. Yankees are still in first place for the moment. But we're going to start off today with something a little different. We're going to play a mean voicemail because occasionally when the Yankees are playing bad, fans, usually the older people who have nothing better to do, who can't just turn off the game and go enjoy life because their life is quickly coming to an end, occasionally they'll call in and be rather upset about the Yankees, and they'll take it out on me. So let's start with a mean voicemail, which I will have a response for momentarily.
Hello, Derek. This is Alan down in Fort Lauderdale. I'm a third-generation Yankee fan.
Ooh.
I watch you all the time, and you seem to think that you're the greatest batting coach, you're a hitting coach, you're a pitching coach. You think you know it all, but you really don't understand. The Yankees are horrible. They have so many holes in their team, don't know what to do anymore. But stop giving advice to little leaguers how to play the outfield, because you really don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, I hope the Yankees do better, and I hope you learn your lesson about being such a great sportscaster, because you're not.
Anyway, Alan from Fort Lauderdale, first off, thanks for watching all the time. You said you watch all the time. That alone makes your message hilarious. You're not that great. I typically don't watch things that I don't like. If you don't like me, why are you glued to my podcast like a lonely moth to a frickin' porch light? Let me guess. Nothing else going on between shuffleboard tournaments and yelling at your HOA? You say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Buddy, I have played, I have coached, I have scouted. But more importantly, it's my damn job to know what I'm talking about. I don't need your permission to say what I think is relevant on my own show. I watch with my eyes open. I understand the game clearly better than someone whose biggest flex is that they're a third-generation fan. You inherited fandom. And let's get real. You are not mad at me. You are mad at the Yankees. You are in your feelings because your favorite team had a bad week and your life is so lame that your coping mechanism is to call into a podcast and leave a voicemail tantrum like a little bitch. You sound like the kind of guy whose wife left him years ago because you were more passionate about your fantasy league team than your marriage. By the way, the team you're melting down over, above 500 and at the top of the division right now. So go complain on your Facebook group about how the grandkids don't call. I can't imagine why. Just a reminder, folks, I'm providing free content. I have done a lot of coaching. I have done a lot of scouting. No, I didn't play in the major leagues. But you don't have to be able to build a clock to know how to tell time. I've had some of the greatest coaches that have ever lived in one of the best baseball states in the country, North Carolina. And I've coached men for a long time, and I've scouted. I've played against some of the best pros that have ever come out of the state, like Josh Hamilton. And I work in baseball with professional athletes. And you think we don't talk about stuff? You don't have to take my advice on fundamentals if you're 80 years old like this clown. But if I can help out one kid out there to maybe pick up a ball correctly off the warning track so that they don't make a mistake, maybe they'll learn. People intake messages or knowledge in a different, in their own way. If I can help one kid, it's worth it. So kiss my podcasting ass. Anyway, back to the normal schedule. Yankees playing in the evenings, which means we have more time in the morning for voicemail. Sorry for that little 5-minute rant to begin the show. I don't want to do that, but this guy calling me up, and that's the first thing I got to listen to in the morning. If you hate the show so much, don't even fucking call. Don't even listen. Nobody wants you. Nobody cares about you or knows who you are. Nobody wants to hear your opinion. If they did, they'd be tuning into you. What a clown. Anyway, hopefully the Yankees can put together some wins. Let's talk about the help that is on the way this week. Clark Schmidt will be back on Wednesday. And I wanted to remind you guys how good this guy was. I mean, an ERA under 3 last year. And I feel like he was just maturing as a pitcher and coming into his own when he suffered the oblique strain last year that kept him out for a few months. And when he came back, you could tell that he was kind of pitching tentatively. And he didn't quite get back to where he was before he got hurt. Now, hopefully, this injury won't set him back. He was kind of slow to ramp up this year, but if he can be that guy who can get past the 5th inning and still keep you in the game, the 6th, 7th inning, that will be a huge, huge addition to the rotation. Huge. But the Yankees have finally gotten to the point where they are grasping for straws for pitchers. Carlos Carrasco, we'll talk about him in a second. He has not been impressive. Carlos Rodon, Meatball Factory. So they need somebody to step up. Pretty soon we're going to have Jonathan Loaizaga come back to the bullpen. That will help us through some of these middle innings where we're having trouble. Walks have been an issue for this team more so than in years past. And that's one of the things that bothers me. I mentioned this yesterday on the postgame show. When someone makes 1 or 2 mistakes, that's the wrong way to say that. When they say that someone has made 1 or 2 mistakes, but you look at the box score and there's 3 walks, to me, those are mistakes, especially when they come before a home run. To me, 1 or 2 mistakes is a guy who just misses a perfect game or just misses a no-hitter. That's 1 or 2 mistakes. Walking guys, allowing extra base hits, home runs. Yesterday was not a good start for Carlos Rodon. Walks are mistakes. Even if the walks don't score, they're mistakes because they're bullets that are no longer in the chamber because you've spent them. They're pitches you didn't need. So, I really think that we could use Clark Schmidt to come back and really set the tone for this rotation with a really good start on Wednesday night. We got Carrasco versus Lugo tonight. Carrasco has not been impressive to me. I told you guys not to get too excited by what you saw in spring training when he was carving up the minor leagues. I know I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just some podcaster. What the hell do I know? But I told you, watch out. I'm not impressed by this guy. Obviously not impressive to the Tigers either. They played home run derby against him. Now, he may pitch well because the Royals are not mashing at the moment. They have allowed more runs than they've scored. They've allowed 60 runs. They've scored only 52. But I sincerely hope that if he struggles, the Yankees will realize that it's time to go in another direction. Whether it's one of the young guys, whether it's Cam Schlittler or Sean Boyle, even somebody like Ben Hess or Bryce Cunningham, who's barely made their pro debut. But the fact that we're searching Double-A and High-A for possible replacements just underscores how thin the Yankees' pitching depth has been, and that is on Brian Cashman. Sean Boyle's at Triple-A, but he is serviceable. Zach Messenger is somebody we could take a look at, Triple-A. I just can't continue to watch has-beens serve up 4 and 5 home runs in a game and walk the ballpark. It's just not fun baseball to watch. All right, let's move on and talk about Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt, our focus of the Inside Edge data dive today. 5.29 average with 2 outs in the inning, which is first in Major League Baseball. The league average is 231. 5.50 versus lefties in 2025, first in Major League Baseball, which is good. The Yankees need somebody who can hit lefties. They could use another one of these guys. Oppo percentage against right-handed pitchers like he'll be facing tonight is 46.7. That is 4th in Major League Baseball. We talked about all spring how he was making a clear adjustment to try and use right field more, especially with the short porch at Yankee Stadium. Now, he hasn't had a ton of slug this year, but he got robbed of at least an extra base hit, possibly a home run yesterday. And he is slugging .867 on fastballs, which is 4th in Major League Baseball. So there's a lot of positives for Paul Goldschmidt, and I feel like, he could be a guy who goes off here in the next few days. He's been getting hits. He hasn't been slugging. I think slugging is next. All right, let's talk about the prediction. We haven't done a NostraDerek prediction in a minute, but Ben Rice is my prediction. We are 3 for 7 on the season with the predictions. I think Ben Rice obviously will stay hot. Seth Lugo is not a guy who throws overly hard. Now, he does throw 9 pitches. That could be trouble because it can keep you guessing as a hitter. But Ben Rice has been swinging the bat so well that I think he's going to connect on something. And when he connects, he hits the ball hard, and he hits the ball towards the gaps a lot. So I'm looking for a gapper, maybe a double into the right field gap for Ben Rice. I'm not going to go out of my way and predict a home run, although it would be nice, and that would count. But I'm saying extra base hit for Ben Rice tonight as my NostraDerek prediction. Okay, we have 5 voicemails. We'll talk about Escara's swing. We'll talk about Michael King. We'll talk about things that don't rhyme. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. You're finally going to get to see the ad from when I shaved. This is for Harry's. In sports, the difference between winning and losing is often razor thin, and it's great to have an edge. And that's what you get with Harry's Razors, the sponsor for today's episode. You might notice my beard is gone. I did that because I wanted to test out this razor that they sent me. I don't like to pitch things unless I try them myself. And I gotta say, I am very impressed with Harry's Razors. It comes with 5 blades. These are German engineered. They are extremely, extremely sharp. I shaved 2 days ago and my face still feels very smooth. I got the trial set. I really enjoy the weighted handle. It gives me like a nice feeling of control over the razor. I don't have to worry about cutting myself. Their trial set is $13, but using our exclusive link and code, you can get it for just $3. Go to harrys.com/stripe and you can get this trial set for $3 instead of $13. harrys.com/stripe.
What do you hear? What do you say?
All right, Harry's. I tell you what, man, it really is a close shaving razor. Usually when I shave, by the next day I have kind of like a 5 o'clock shadow. I shaved on Saturday morning, okay? And it's just now starting to have like maybe a 3 o'clock shadow. So, I mean, this thing really, really made a close shave. Okay, next thing we got to do is we got a couple of comments here. Lars saying nice things about the podcast. I appreciate that. From a 67-year-old Florida retiree. I didn't mean to insult all Florida retirees. Just that guy. Just that one guy. Kurt, I have best dog ever. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you. I have the best dog ever. Pepper. She is the best. But he says that Lance Lynn should be a Yankee, that they should make him an offer that he can't refuse. I really liked Lance Lynn. He's a guy who doesn't quite have the fastball that he used to, which was his primary pitch to get people out. He was a high spin rate, high fastball guy. But, you know, I'd certainly rather see him than Carlos Carrasco. That's for sure. AJ Chen says, this is like our big slump last summer. Rather get it out of the way now and get hot later in the year. Well, getting it out of the way now doesn't necessarily mean that they will get hot or that they won't slump again later. I still think there could be another slump coming. I mean, there's slumps every year. You'd much rather get off to a good start than a bad one. And BHD Claps says, is Ben Rice going to be the backup catcher when Stanton returns? I certainly hope not. First of all, Escara looks good, and we do have a call about him, so let's go ahead and get to that.
Hey, Derek. Sam here from Miami, Florida. I was watching your recap of the Giants-Yankees game. You were wondering who Escara reminds you of. It's Jose Bautista. His swing is very much Jose Bautista. I'm convinced that's who you're thinking of.
I like that.
Quick question. What are we going to do with our pitching, man? Like, I know we're getting Schmidt back. He was meant to come back, but he's going to be delayed. Lat strain. I saw reports that Cole may be back by September, but that seems dubious. Are we content to go through the season with Fried, Rodon, Schmidt? I assume Will Warren and Cookie. That just doesn't seem like a playoff roster. That doesn't seem like a World Series winning rotation.
100% agree.
If we get Heel back at least by September, fine. I think we'll make it the playoffs. But it makes me very worried. I don't see us giving up enough to trade for Alcantara. I just don't see what we can do. It just seems like we've done such a good job rebuilding the offense, and it's just going to be a wasted season because of injuries once again. Thank you.
So Sandy Alcantara is somebody that I really like with the Marlins. I could see the Yankees anteing up. Problem is, they don't have a lot of other pitching depth. I mean, I really think that they might have to rely on some of these low A guys, and then you're dealing with a whole nother set of problems. Growing pains that come with being a young pitcher. Escar's swing, comparing that to Jose Bautista, I really like that. My other friend, Brett, sent me one. He said Nick Johnson, which I like. That's another good one. But I think the guy that I've been thinking of is Ramiro Pena, who was with the Yankees for a while. He was never a great hitter, but if you go look at their stances and their swings, very similar. So Ramiro Pena is kind of who I'm thinking of. We got another call here from Derek in Ohio, and he is the guy who authored...
I'm so sick of this shit.
That one.
Hey, Derek in Ohio. Carlos Rodon is the Gleyber Torres of our pitching staff. Low baseball IQ and can never get in the right headspace. Why in the world would he throw the same hanging curveball to Lee in the 6th as he did in the 4th and expect a different result? It's beyond me. And you got to assume that he's calling the pitches because JC's a rookie. So we are in for a long season if Fried is going to be the only viable starter. All right, that's all I got, brother.
I think that's an apt comparison. Gleyber Torres and his mentality and his lack of focus to Carlos Rodon and his lack of focus and just making stupid mistakes. Yeah, I agree with you. It was bad pitch selection. It was bad pitch execution. And he is now posting a 5.48 ERA on the season. Not good. Lori C says Gleyber Torres still getting shade. Poor guy. Well, not poor. He does better than most of us.
Hey, Derek Austin. So I watched Michael King throw a complete game shutout yesterday. Man,
Yep.
He looks really good. He's
He
such
does.
a great pitcher. It was really kind of crappy that we lost him. I mean, I was very grateful to watch Juan Soto play. It was an amazing season, but, with the 5th inning and the embarrassment and the loss in the World Series, despite the fact that we did get there, I can't help feeling sometimes that, man, was it worth it, especially in the condition that we are now. I know Clark Schmidt's coming back. I know we're going to be expecting a lot from him, but I wonder if we could revisit the conversation about who could possibly be on the trade block. Like, I just don't see San Diego trading with how well they're starting. I'm thinking about all these other pitchers that might be worth it. Like, I don't know about Sandy Alcantara. He's pitching okay to start the season, but everybody else seems like they're either, like under a contract extension, like, Hunter Green, love Hunter Green, but he's, on a contract extension with the Reds, or guys like Logan Gilbert, who I also really like, who are under contract through 2027. Seems like a lot of these guys just aren't going to be available for a couple of years. So it's either...
All right, so you're seeing now why pitchers get paid hundreds of millions of dollars, even though they're extremely fragile and break down. It's because there's so few of them that are good, right? Supply and demand. There's not a lot of pitching out there. And I agree with you. Michael King is tremendous. I hope that the Yankees will look at him when he becomes a free agent, although, it's going to depend on what the price is. There's going to be some other free agents out there, possibly Kyle Tucker. One scenario I could see is, let's say Giancarlo comes back and doesn't really, get into that groove that he had last year because of the elbows. I could see him basically being let go after the season because, he's approaching the end of his career. He's got a couple of years left on his contract, but, he's reached the point where if he's not going to hit for power and not carry you really can't carry him as a player. If that happens, that frees up the DH spot. You move Judge to DH. You sign Kyle Tucker to play right field. That preserves Judge long-term, and it adds another bat to the outfield. And then Goldschmidt's probably going to leave the Yankees after this year. He's on a 1-year deal. Ben Rice moves over to first base. He becomes your first baseman next year. Hopefully becomes a perennial 30 home run guy. But in terms of pitching, I think the Yankees are going to have to do this internally, man. I really think that they're going to have to take a look at guys like Cunningham and Hess and Schlittler and Boyle and these guys that are, in the minor leagues right now for us. And they're going to have to really develop these guys. There's just not a lot of external pitching available that teams are willing to part with for a decent price. And the few times that the Yankees have tried to do that, it hasn't worked well. Like when they traded for Montas, they traded some of their young pitching. Didn't work out well. So it is what it is.
Hey, Derek, this is Erupt from the Hip Hop Advocates. Long-time listener, diehard Yankee fan. Just wanted to comment on tonight's game. I got Seth Lugo as one of my pitchers on my fantasy team, but I'd take the hit for a Yankee win any day. What do you think about Ben Rice for Rookie of the Month? How is he doing compared to other rookies that are up in the league this year?
Appreciate the call. Ben Rice is no longer a rookie. He passed his qualifications last year, so he is not technically a rookie, even though it feels like he is. He's doing a great job. And his baseball savant stuff, we looked at it a ton, off the charts. I think he's going to have a good year. But I'm not really worried about awards at this point. I mostly am thinking about how the Yankees can get wins. And to do it, they're going to need to hit a little bit better against lefties. They're going to need Dominguez to fix his bat path against lefties. And they're going to need better starting pitching. At the end of the day, almost every team in the major leagues, their fate will be decided by the strength of their starting pitching. Last year, you could say the Yankees starting pitching combined with home runs from Giancarlo were the reasons they made it to the World Series. They had a healthier rotation going into the playoffs. And now they're paying the price. They are beat down. As far as one caller who mentioned he saw some reports that Cole could be back in September, I wouldn't buy that. I mean, he had Tommy John, but he did have the brace procedure. Now, I think that report, I saw the same report you did. I think it came out on April 1st. So it might have been an April Fool's thing. I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I wouldn't count on Garrett Cole until next year. Although I do think because his procedure was the brace procedure, he won't miss as much of next year as we thought. Maybe he's back in April or May, which would be a help next year. All right, final call for the day.
Hey, what up, Derek? Eagle from the Bronx. Hey, I really hope Tom Brennan and Cashman are as concerned as we are as fans right now. Because right now it's not looking good. Pitching is looking terrible. You know, hitting can only get us so far. But if I got to deal with more of Rodon, Stroman, and Carrasco, man, it's going to be a long season for us.
Yeah. I mean, it all boils down to that. And I'm glad we're all on the same page except for that first guy. So the pitching is going to be what makes the difference. And hopefully we get a good start out of Carrasco tonight. We need somebody to step up, right? I mean, until we get Schmidt back. And Schmidt's no guarantee either, because he's coming back from an injury. But, the pitching has got to be better. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Check out the link in the profile for Harry's Razors. And again, don't call in with mean voicemails because if I hear it, I'm going to light you up. I'll see you next time. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.